And I don't know how deep you guys have really gone into free agency. I know I've kind of gone into it, but if there was one free agent, not including Malik Beasley or anyone that's currently on this roster, um, what
Hmm.
free agent would you want to add to this team? Whichever you guys want to go first, go for it.
I mean, Nas Reed.
Okay.
Like if money's not an issue, if we could just go like on the market and handpick whoever we want to add to this team,
Mm-hmm.
it's Nas Reed. Like if you want to pour gasoline on this thing in the least long-term affecting way possible, if you want to go out and get the pick and roll partner to complement Cade and some of your other players, if you want like the versatile big who can play out in the perimeter but also be like a roaming defender, you want the guy that you could put alongside Jalen Duren and feel pretty good about what you're doing at the four. I think it's Nas Reed. Do I think they're going to be able to do it? No. I think its market's going to be insanely competitive this summer. I think a lot of teams are going to be very happy to throw some money at Nas Reed. But I think like along that lines too, it's like if you know for a fact that you're getting the high level play, a guy like a Bobby Portis is certainly really intriguing as well, just because of his experience, just his attitude, the way he plays, fits Pistons basketball quite a bit. I also just am not wild about picking up a guy not even a year after they had a 25-game PED suspension. I just don't think that's smart business. So, yeah, it's one of those markets that isn't going to blow anyone away if they're like not tied into the league. If you're like if you're people like us who are absolute sickos, you look at some of these guys, you're like, man, like Nickeil Alexander-Walker could be a good player on this team. You know what I mean? But at the same time, it's like if the Pistons are going to get anything this offseason, it's just going to be like in the free agency market, it's going to be those reliable role players who are kind of like puzzle finishers, if that makes any sense.
And that's not a bad thing either, Sean.
No.
Because, and you weren't saying it was that the way it came off the tongue made it sound like you said that was a bad thing. But we saw what JB Bickerstaff and this coaching staff and this management was able to make Tim Hardaway Jr., Malik Beasley, Dennis Schroeder, Tobias Harris into after a lot of those guys were written off. The Tim Hardaway Jr. trade was not a favorite. The Tobias Harris signing was not a favorite. Malik Beasley, it was seen as an okay, cool. But the way that they were absolutely to blow up and now might get some serious money in the next year is a crazy thing because these are guys who are going to be sought after because they were able to come into the system. So for me, I don't have any specific names. Sean, you brought up the best of them, but I'm really confident in, especially when I mentioned earlier, the alignment between JB and Trajan, they're going to be able to bring in guys that fit the system. And you might say, well, last year, if you were to talk about the system, I don't think Tobias Harris or Tim Hardaway Jr. or Malik Beasley kind of fit that when you're talking about this high-paced, high-defensive team. Like, yes, they're okay defensively. At least Malik Beasley is. He was kind of that quote stopper with Milwaukee. But these are guys who revitalize their careers here, and I think that has a lot to do with the system. So anyone we get, I'm really confident they're going to kind of be able to have that sort of trajectory as well.
Yeah, Anthony, I've been meaning to text you about this because you sent me a text one night that I didn't even know how to respond to in the moment. But I got to say, I see the vision now. Luke Cornett, one bad man. I couldn't tell in that moment because, like, I just know you have a little twisted sense of humor. I couldn't tell if you were like being funny in the moment or not. But like, man, the more you watch Luke Cornett play basketball, the harder it is to not fall in love with the way that he plays. And it's like, people might be like, oh, well, is it like, oh, it's just like, oh, just because it's like a white guy. It's like, no, the dude's a hooper. He had 7 blocks in a closeout playoff game the other day. 7.
One on Josh Hart.
Still 7 blocks.
Yeah, still 7 blocks. And just the way that, like, he's a really high effort player. He's super smart with the way that he approaches the game. It's just, he's one of those guys that it's hard to not be like intrigued by having him as like one of your backup bigs. Like, there's just so many guys in Boston that make you go, man, if they could just have more minutes, we could be cooking here.
So I have 2 names for you guys to kind of simmer on. I'll start with the young guy first. This guy was almost a Detroit Piston. It's Bol Bol. He's going to be a free agent. He had foot surgery I'm dead ass serious. He had foot surgery
I know.
after he actually got traded to Boston, had foot surgery, didn't play that whole season, played a little bit in Phoenix. The Pistons do need more size in the front court and a backup power forward. It could be a cheap option. The other guy is a little bit more battle tested. He's from Michigan, just had his jersey retired here. And it's Al Horford. He's going to be a free agent as well. I think with Al Horford, why I'd be really intrigued is you're adding another veteran. Al Horford actually almost came here over 8 years ago, but he eventually went with Boston. I don't know how much he has left in the tank. I don't know what's going to happen in Boston with both of the Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown having the injuries that they have. Could you try to get a Al Horford to possibly either you put him in the starting lineup or you have him off the bench, so you would have a Tobias Harris and a Al Horford on your team? I think that's a lot of veteran smarts, IQ, and he can stretch the floor and pass it. I've always been a really big Al Horford guy, but do either of those guys kind of like intrigue you a little bit at the backup power forward position?
My desk almost just tipped over, and I didn't even use my hands. So make that about you well with the Al Horford, with the Al Horford proposition. The Bull one, I would slightly be okay with, only from the standpoint that it would get those like random commenters to shut the up about Bull being on the Pistons. Because it's like, I swear to God, people thought we were getting Kareem. Like with how some people like were like, Bull, he could be nice. He's gonna be in a Pistons uniform. And I certainly think for like a third big, if you're not able to bring back like a Paul Reed, he's certainly like an interesting option. But at that point, I would just rather have Paul Reed back because of like the known commodity of what he brings. But at the same time, like, it's not a bad option. Al Horford, I mean, that's a Hall of Famer. Like that's one of the best vets in the league. That's one of the best like professionals to learn from. If you're talking about being able to build your culture, like Boston's gonna have a lot of hard decisions to make. If they somehow let Al Horford walk, that would be an incredible acquisition. And you want to talk about having one of the most reliable, like second unit players in the league? That's Al Horford.
Yeah. I mean, I know some people are saying like Al might retire. Like that could be the case. He could retire. There's another guy I looked at, kind of a little bit of tier below Chris Boucher. I don't know if you want to go that way. Like Luke Cornett, Sean, when I texted to you, I'm looking at him and I'm looking at like the Pistons don't have a true 7-footer on their roster. And I think what this playoffs has really shown us is size matters. You need a 7-footer. I think if you want to go far in the playoffs, and he might not be like a household name or, kind of under the radar in a sense, but I mean, it was to say like you don't get him and you possibly could play some 2 big lineups off the bench with Stu and Cornette.
His basketball reference shows him as 6'9".
They kept saying he was 7 foot. He looks 7 foot in person. He's huge.
He could be one of those guys. I don't know what it is, but do you notice how there's some guys who like, I know about lying about your height in the one direction, like on Tinder, I'm 6 foot. Like I get all that, but it's like the NBA is the only place where people lie about their height in the other direction. Like guys are just like, oh no, I'm actually like 6'3". It's like you're 7'9". You know what I mean? Like Wemby purposely lists his height lower than what it reportedly is. Kevin Durant reportedly lists his height lower than what it is. Like once you get to the super tall guys, they all want to say they're shorter than they actually are. So like,
don't want to be too much of a freak.
Well, because I think it is like, you know what it is? I think like people, once you see like the higher number, I think part of it is like for like Kevin Durant, they would try to play him more in the post. I also think it's because of the fact that like it could scare teams off because you could be seen as more of an injury threat.
Yeah, so I looked it up. Luke Cornett is 7'1", according to NBA.com. So, basketball reference, you got to update your stuff. You got to update Cade's nickname as well. He's the paradox.
Well, this was for Chris Boucher.
Damn.
Luke Cornett's I have to check, but that was Chris Boucher's height.
Oh, I thought you said Luke Cornett was 6'9". I was like, bro, there's no way.
Yeah, Luke Cornett, that's mad cap. He's 100% that height. Yeah, but Chris Boucher, he's 6'9".
Okay, yeah, like Chris Boucher, I could definitely see like being 6'9". I was looking to. There's no way Luke Cornett is 6'9".
Yeah, no shot. I'm
Maybe
sorry
a
if I said Luke Cornett on accident, I apologize.
Oh, it's all good, man.